Hey there, I thought I'd do another day in the life with Leah the dog walker and go through all my appointments today. So today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. It's my best friend Katie's birthday. Happy birthday, Katie. We're turning 40 this year. Just unbelievable. But I have a pretty full day of dog walks, and I just finished up my first appointment with Scout. I'm running very early for my next appointment, so I figured I'd hop on here and just talk for a minute. The services that I offer: 40-minute woods walks, off leash up to 4 dogs. Sometimes I sneak a 5th one in there if I'm feeling frisky and if the dogs are all really stable. That's like my main service offering. I usually do 2 hikes a day. I also do neighborhood walks, which are 25-minute leash walks. They could include some off-leash time in the woods if the client lives near the woods. It could include some play in a field, which is what I usually do with Scout on his 25-minute neighborhood walk. It could also just be a traditional leash walk, loose leash walk. And I will add as many dogs as I need to those walks. I prefer to do them one-on-one because it's better for the dogs and it's better for me. I've never been a dog walker to walk a huge group of dogs down the street. That's not fun for me. It's not fun for the dogs. It might look really cool for a photo, but that's not why I'm working. And it's also a great way to make a buttload of money really quick. If I'm walking 8 to 12 dogs at a time for 25 minutes, I'm spending more time gathering up all those dogs than I am actually walking. And it's a great way to make a bunch of money. But again, it's not something that I'm interested in. So I also offer relief visits. So if you have a puppy or maybe an older dog that just needs to be let out real quick in the yard, no problem, have a quick potty break. The fourth thing that I offer on my dog walking service schedule is training sessions in the afternoon. So this is what I'll do if I'm getting a dog ready to go on an off-leash hike. So I'm doing that with Knox right now on Wednesday afternoons, and I've taken some video with him, and he's almost ready to go on hikes with a group of dogs. So those are the 4 different service offerings that I have on my schedule. Hopefully today you'll see some new dogs that you haven't seen before and see the progress of some of the dogs that you've seen in previous videos. So here we go. Okay, first up we have Scout, and he is on his way to the Field of Dreams, which is right up there. Big open space here in Winchester, and he lives really close by, so I can give him some off-leash time on the way and in the field. But as you can see, it's still really icy. We just walked on that path. Brutal. I still have to have my tracks on in order to stay safe. And usually I'll play ball with Scout up in this field, but that will not happen today because it's way too icy, and Scout has some structural issues. His shoulders and his knees are pretty bad. Hey, leave that. Come on. Good boy. And the reason why I don't hike Scout anymore is because he just goes hog wild when we're out in the woods and he hurts himself. So we do spend some time off the leash, but it's pretty laid back, and then the rest of our walk will be on the leash. I think I've explained that before. But another thing that I wanted to talk about today was water. So over here we have this little brook, and I do not let Scout go into the water over here, and he loves to swim probably more than anything else in the whole wide world. The reason being, he gets disgusting, and it's simply not fair for me to drop him off at the house after a 25-minute walk and have him be completely soaked and dirty for his owners. So I am the fun sponge when it comes to water, unless it's a really hot day, I'm on a hike, and I bring the dogs to like Horn Pond where the water is really clear and nice. In that case, I will certainly let them go in it and have a good time. And that's really where the remote collar training comes in, right? So if a dog like Scout sees water, his instinct is to go in it. And if I call him and he doesn't come back to me, I'm going to use the remote collar to reinforce that recall. And he will quickly figure out that going into the water is just not an option. And he still has a great time. We come out here, we play. I definitely could have brought the ball. I did not realize that there was going to be this much open space here, but such is life. Maybe I'll throw a stick for him or something, but I cannot wait for all this ice to be gonzo. It's going to be great. All right, signing off. I'm going to play with this guy. All right, I am out with Monte, Olive, and Sage, and today is a very big day for Sage. So she's over here with the yellow collar on and the long line. She's almost as big as Olive. Can't even believe it. But this is the first time that I've had Sage out on a hike with another dog that's not Olive. So Sage and Olive live together, so they cohabitate very well. But Monte does not live with them, and he's an older dog, and he can be a little bit grumpy. So this is really good for both of them. It's good for Sage to learn boundaries, and it's good for Monte to get around puppy energy, because Monte is getting a little sister tomorrow, and he needs to be able to tolerate a little bit of puppy antics. So that's what's up. What I'm gonna do now is turn the camera around. Oh dear. Nice. So if we check that out, Sage went over to check Monte to see if he wanted to play. He said no. So she went over to her sister. She didn't really want to play, so she backed up and gave up. Cool moment. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around and talk a little bit about Sage's training. Okay, I'm out with Sage, Olive, and Monte, and I wanted to explain where Sage is at in her training. So, again, young dog, but she is awesome. She's very intuitive, she's very pack driven, and she's very well trained because Laurie has spent a lot of time with her one-on-one. So some keys to being successful with off-leash stuff. When you have a puppy, you got to get that dog out on a long line or a flexi lead, hanging out with you in front of your house, in your backyard, going on a walk, on the long line, in the woods, in a field. If you do this with a puppy and you just do normal things around your house, like garden, shovel the snow, clean up around your house, and you just have the dog on a long line with you, they will develop their pack drive. They will get used to hanging out with you. And it will be 10 times easier to do this type of activity with your dogs. It is very difficult for me to take a 2-year-old dog that has been confined to a 6-foot leash and only gone on neighborhood walks for their entire life, and who will run out the front door if that thing cracks open. It is hard for me to take a dog like that and get them to the point where they can be completely off the leash, just because their lifestyle has not supported that idea at all. So please get out with your young dogs and your puppies. When a dog is trained so they understand the behavior that you're asking them to do, it's time to add a little bit of negative reinforcement when the dog blows you off. And that's where Sage is at in her training. So last week was the very first time in 1 month where I had an opportunity to use the remote collar to reinforce the recall. So Sage and Olive found a dead hawk. It was actually just the wings because the coyotes had already taken away the good parts. And I called Sage to me and she didn't come. So I tapped on the remote collar. She jumped up and came screaming over to me. I didn't have to use the long line to help her shut the stimulation off from the collar. She got it right away. I have not done much collar conditioning with Sage. So if you've worked with me, you know that I don't do a lot of collar conditioning because I don't think that it's super necessary, especially if a dog is trained. And I'm going to, at one point or another, do a longer video about Stanley. He's a dog that did a board and train before I started hiking with him, and he went through a ton of remote collar conditioning, and it had some adverse effects, and I'll talk a lot about that in detail later. But I am not out here pressing buttons. I am relying on that foundation of training that Laurie puts into these dogs, and I'm also relying on the fact that when Sage was a puppy, she spent time on a long line with me, with Laurie. I'm not sure about with her owners, but that pays off when it's time to give your dogs freedom in the woods. And she will drag this line until she's won, even if she's really reliable. I don't take them off of that long line too soon. It's my ripcord. It makes me feel better, and that helps when I'm out with these dogs. But yeah, it's a big day for her because, again, she's out with Monte. First time that she's been out with a dog that's not Olive. And she's wicked smart, like very intuitive little dog. I absolutely love these dogs. Monte included too. But yeah, so that's what's up with her training. And I know a lot of people have questions when you're doing e-collar training with me. So what I'm trying to do in these videos is just like explain things as they're happening to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on out here. So that's what's up. I'm gonna get back to it, and I will be back with my next appointment. Okay, I am out here with Abby and Jethro, and I just stopped in this parking lot so I could safely take a video. But Abby and Jethro have been on my schedule for a long time, but their parents travel quite a bit, so I don't see them as often as I used to. And they have a sister named Millie who is not here, so usually I have all three of them at the same time. And Jethro and Abby's parents are saints. They have always rescued dogs, historically a lot of Labradors. So when I started working with their parents, it was back in 2016, and they had two Labradors that were quite old, Holly and Dodger, and then they adopted Jethro and Abby. But we do leash walks here in Medford. They are definitely more country dogs, and in their spare time they spend a lot more time off leash. We just get steps in together and get some leash work in. But yeah, they're great dogs. They're litter mates. They're probably about 8-9 years old, and we just get steps in together, go to the bathroom, and I try to help them through a little bit of leash reactivity. Jethro here sometimes gets a little fired up, but he's a really good boy. So that's what's up with them. Signing off, and I'll tune in for next appointment. Good girl. Here. Okay, I'm on the road here with Miss Lily. Good girl. Good job. And we're just getting some steps in today. So I've done a lot of play with Lily, developing play in her backyard, in a public space, and she is just doing phenomenal. It's slow going. I still haven't seen her go to the bathroom off of her property. Her dad said that she did pee in the woods the other day, so that's huge. But she's generally speaking a little bit nervous to be out in the environment, but she is doing phenomenal today. So in the past, when I've tried to take her just on a regular leash walk, she's gotten really nervous, and her tail is like tucked between her legs, and she's just kind of ears her back and stuff. And today we are a decent ways away from her house, and her tail carriage is nice, and she's really happy, and that makes me happy. So one of the things that Lily likes to do, I'm just going to stop here, sit, go ahead, all done, is sniff. So I let her do that on these walks. I just put it on a cue. So I'll ask her for a behavior, and then I'll release her to go sniff. I'll do that like, I don't know, every 10th of a mile or so, and I just give her time to decompress and sniff it out. And then when I'm ready to go, I say heel, we start moving again, and I'll build in another little sniff break as the walk goes on. And that helps for her to feel more comfortable, to express herself when she's on the leash, right? It's like not super normal for a dog to be in heel position on a loose leash for a ton of time. So I try to break up the walks as much as I can, just so that the dog kind of gets a chance to feel like a dog when they're on these leash walks. So she's doing super, and I will continue to work on play on the long line stuff, and eventually I'll get her into the woods. She'll probably never be like an off-leash completely dog with me, but I certainly can do some long line work with her. So that's in the cards. All right, signing off until my next appointment. Okay, I just finished up a really nice leash walk with Fozzie and Miss Marley. I'm sorry for these videos, but they're the best I can do when I have dogs on leashes. My next outing is a hike, so that should be a little bit more interesting for the viewer, but sometimes I do hike Marley and Fozzie because they live quite close to the woods, but I just realized that I hadn't taken them on a leash walk together in quite some time, and that's a skill that needs maintenance. So I am guilty of doing a lot of off-leash stuff with dogs, and then when I put them on the leash, they're like acting the fool. So today we just went on a nice leash walk. They did very well, very polite. They both went to the bathroom, so that's crucial. And yeah, just took it easy, got our steps in. So there we go. Fozzie and Marley. Great dogs. Okay, here we go. Our last hike of the day. We got Cali, Hamish, Heidi, and Leo, old faithfuls, here with me this afternoon. And as you can see, it's still pretty icy out here, but I'm super grateful for this slow burn that we're having on the ice melt, because if it all melts right away, it turns into a complete mud fest. So I'm fine with it. I'm still rocking the cleats on my shoes, And yeah, I'm having fun today. So Hamish and Heidi, I did a hike with their mom last week, which was just amazing. So she had not been out with them kind of off the leash in the woods because she's a little apprehensive and nervous, which is normal for a lot of people. They just don't like being out here by themselves. So hopefully when the weather turns a little bit, she'll feel more comfortable bringing them out on their own, because I do think that Hamish especially would benefit from going out with somebody other than just me. So he is a really great guy, really nice dog. But as soon as he knows that we're on our way back to the car, I'm pretty sure would run back there if I didn't pick up the leash and continue to call him back to me. So I want him to have fun when he's out here. And sometimes Hamish can just be a little bit of a homebody and just really enjoy the company of his mom and his house, which is totally fine. But yeah, I want him to feel good when he's out here with me. And I think that if mom joined in on the fun, that would definitely make things easier. And we'll see as the spring turns and more people kind of get out and about. I really hope that, yeah, he can spend some time with the family doing this activity as well, because he's definitely trained. Like, there's no question about that. But I want him to feel good when he's out here, which he definitely does. But it's like, as soon as he knows that we're on our way home, he like can't wait. So yeah, that's my group today. Everybody else is just Old Faithful, and that concludes the walking portion of my day today. I am teaching a class this afternoon. Probably won't take any video of that because it's just a totally different flow. But I hope you enjoyed following along with my workday and seeing all these amazing dogs again. Signing off.